Update. Am I the a-hole for not going back to my home country for my sister's wedding? Original post. I, 28, immigrated to Canada 7 years ago. I got married after I was 21, and my husband was already living there and came back for marriage. It was arranged by my grandparents. It was strange at first, but I truly did love him. In my religion, remarriage is not prohibited. There is a part of it, if I say in English, that says husband and wife are not those who sit together but whose souls are shared. I feel like my husband's soul and mine are shared, and I have no interest in ever being with another man. My grandparents do not understand that. They want me to bring my kids back to my home country so they can get me remarried, so my kids can have a dad. Even if I wanted to, there are so many unknowns in that scenario that I do not wish to deal with. They have stopped asking me now, but I know it is what they want. My sister, 24, is getting married in June, and she badly wants me to be at her wedding. I would be lying if I said I do not want to go myself. From the way my grandparents were talking, I just know that if I go, they are going to try and get me married too. It's not a situation where I'd end up getting married, but I do not want to put up with the harassment and subject my kids to the idea that they might get a dad because they had a dad who loved them. When I told my sister that I was not going to be able to go, she got very upset with me. She called me selfish for not wanting to come after not seeing her for so many years. I pointed out how our grandparents are, but she said I should put up with it for a month for her. Maybe she is right, and I'm being a jerk about this because we were so close before I left. To edit, my husband has passed away and so have my parents. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not Day Home. What you wrote about your marriage is beautiful. You may or may not ever find another love like that. That will be your choice to open your heart. I'm not sure about your culture or whether your family home would be a safe place to be. If you feel like you would be in danger of kidnapping or similar, you must not go. However, if you can trust them not to pressure you, you should go be with your sister and celebrate. Put ground rules in place and have a plan for an early departure if you need it. I'm not sure I agree with the last part. Opie lucked out with her husband, but she could not be as lucky with the next one. And right now, she has children to consider too. Her grandparents are showing a lot of signs of not respecting her wishes. Opie has noticed and remarked on this, and if she were to go to that country, she could be in a situation where she can't just have an early departure. It's not rare in countries where arranged marriage is encouraged for the reluctant bride to be locked in a house or given a chaperone so that she cannot escape until the wedding. Not a-hole. It sounds like you're concerned about being pressured into getting married again. This is a lot easier to resist when you're in another country. Could your grandparents be using you to get residency for someone in Canada by marrying you? I'd stay away too. It is very likely. Don't risk it. It's not only that you could end up with a bad husband, your children could end up with a bad stepfather who treats them as less than because they are the kids of your first husband and not his. You could be risking not only your future, but theirs too. Not Day Home. I'm assuming how it's written that your husband is no longer with you. You said you were essentially soulmates, so I'm sorry for your loss. I'm having to fill in some gaps here, but it sounds like you going back will put you in an unsafe position and possibly expose your kids to some harm at the same time in regards to having a new dad. Being back there for a whole month is a substantial amount of time as well. Time for your grandparents to try and manipulate you and your kids. Maybe the secret option is to have someone babysit your kids for a long weekend and you can go back for the main ceremony, if it's safe to do that. And now for the update. So after reading everybody's comments, I got worried that my grandparents may actually be planning to make me get married. So I called my brother and told him my fears. He called my sister and he told me it tricked her into revealing our grandparents' schemes. Apparently, they were planning to get me married maybe at the same time as my sister or after. I do not know how they thought they could get away with it, since the temple would never allow that, but it was their plan. So my brother told me I could either make it clear I was not going and end things publicly, or I could just do it secretly. I feel betrayed by my sister, and I know my brother is angry with her. But history of my people teaches us not to seek revenge, and that would hurt my sister's wedding and her reputation. So my brother bought me and my kids tickets, and the plan is to cancel and get my doctor to give some medical reasons not to fly. My doctor is from our community and she will understand. I had to calm my brother down so he can still enjoy her wedding, since him being there is more important. It is sad that I cannot go back to my home country now and I cannot take my kids there either. But Canada is a great place. Nobody here pressures me for remarriage, and every man and woman at work treats me and my situation with respect. My husband is not alive anymore, but I know our souls are together forever. I'm sad that my first home no longer believes, but I will never stop. Great job by your brother being there for you. By the way, I'd never go to your old country again, as you'll experience nothing but pressure if you ever go. Yes, my brother has always looked out for me, and it makes me happy that he understands why I do not ever want to be remarried. I will probably go back when my children are older so that they can see the temples and experience our culture, but only if my grandparents have stopped pressuring me. Yes, your brother is a great person who truly cares for you and your family. I think some special thank you dinners for your brother should be on your calendar in the future. When he and his family come over, I will make him all of his favorite foods just like our mom used to make them. Not stay home. My grandpa passed really young from a heart attack. My grandma raised 6 kids on her own. When I was older, I asked her why she never even dated after grandpa died. She said she'd crawl through glass to have 1 minute with him again, and she just lived the life they had planned because it made her happy. She wasn't against remarrying, but she'd met her love and that was enough. Betty White never remarried after her husband passed in 1981. She always said, once you've had the best, who needs the rest? I'm not at all religious, but I hope they manage to meet up again on the other side. History of my people teaches us not to seek revenge, and that would hurt my sister's wedding and her reputation. Here's the thing about history. It was made by people who committed so many sins that they are afraid that they will be targeted, so they discourage revenge. Your family did wrong by you. Don't do right by them. The history of my people is not like that at all, and that is not why they discourage revenge. It is because revenge will give us nothing, and I know I will gain nothing from ruining my sister's wedding but will only lose her. So the best thing I can do is just be happy with my children. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving up my accommodation for the bride's side of the family? My husband's friend is getting married in Spain by the beach. I booked our flights and accommodation as soon as I found out the date, because I was excited and wanted to get a good place now, rather than later when there would be significantly less options. I recently lost a lot of weight and have a lot of loose skin. I'm not comfortable at all with anyone besides my husband seeing my body, so I didn't want to stay in a hotel with a pool. Instead, I booked out a 3-bedroom villa with a pool. It was the smallest option. The others were 7 or 8 beds. My husband told his friend about the good deal we got on it, and he was happy for us. Fast forward to now. He and his fiancée asked if we'd stay somewhere else and allow some of her family to stay there instead. They said they'd give us the money we paid for it. But like I said, we got a good deal because we booked early. There are now no homes with private pools available, and the hotels just cost about the same as the 3-bedroom villa, and I can't use the pool, so I'm getting less for my money. I refused and opened up about why I wanted a private pool. She was really nice at first, and gave me a speech about how beautiful I was and no one would care. But I can't just switch off my insecurity, so I said no again. And then she flipped and said I was selfish for hogging a 3-bed place because I was too scared to get my flab out. The soon-to-be-married couple obviously think I'm the a-hole. My husband thinks I should just let it go because it's their special day and we don't want to make things difficult for them. But at the same time, this is the only time we can afford to go away, so although we are going for the wedding, it's also a holiday for us. And why should I have to be uncomfortable on my break? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. So the a-hole asked for a favor, got turned down, and decided to insult you in order to make you do what she asked? She certainly doesn't sound like much of a friend to me. That's because she's not a friend. She's an a-hole. Also, how is it that the couple getting married don't have their act together with booking rooms for the wedding they're planning? It's not like this was a surprise. Not the a-hole. Go to Spain, enjoy the villa, and skip the wedding. Yes, do this. Not the a-hole. This is another case of people having a wedding and being inconsiderate of the guests. I'm tired of people acting like their special day means they get to treat others like crap. Your husband should be backing you up, because it's messed up. Not stay home. She wasn't being nice. The supportive speech was a transparent attempt to get on your good side in hopes that you'd give her what she wanted. She and her fiancé are entitled a-holes. The relatives should take whatever they can get and learn to plan better. I hope that by "my husband thinks I should just let it go" you don't mean "my husband thinks I should let them have the villa." If that's the case, then he's an a-hole too, especially after that comment she made. Please, please stand your ground and don't give up the villa. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for disrespecting my in-laws and leaving dinner table after my husband's dad insulted me? Last night I had my in-laws visit, made them dinner and put it on the table while I had my own dinner, which was a yogurt and salad, because I'd gained few pounds and my husband pushed for me to lose some. Anyway, we were all sitting eating when my husband's dad asked what I was eating. I told him a salad, and with a confused look on his face, he said, "A salad? That ain't gonna fill up your fat ass." Suddenly, some of my in-laws started giggling, and my husband did too. I felt upset and humiliated, so I got up from my seat and went to stay in my room till my in-laws left. My husband barged in asking why the hell I left my guests by themselves. I told him his dad insulted me and made a joke in front of everyone. He said that I was being too sensitive and too self-cautious, and that didn't warrant leaving the table and disrespecting his family. I argued that he should have defended me instead of laughing along, but he insisted it was just a joke and I should chill, and then said that he's not a lawyer or a police officer, so I should quit expecting him to get involved in every disagreement I have since I'm an adult. We kept on arguing and he said that I disrespected his family by leaving the dinner table and hiding in my room like I was a child when I could have just chilled and kept my cool. My mother-in-law sent a long wall of text about how inappropriate my behavior was. He may be right in that I messed up and was being a bit too sensitive, since this is just how my father-in-law is, honest and straightforward even with his jokes. Am I the a-hole? Could it be that I overreacted? So let me get this straight. Your husband has pushed you onto a diet. Your father-in-law then joked about your weight. In your home, at your table? And then your darling husband laughed, didn't see how rude this was. But you being upset and leaving the table was what crossed the line? GTFO. Not a-hole. Hun, I'm commenting here because it's the top comment and I hope you see it. You're absolutely not a-hole. You were insulted in your home. It is not okay for anyone to speak to you like that. I'm sure your husband and his parents have plenty of faults of their own. Would you be able to get away for a few days to think about the current direction in which your life is headed? Is this what you want for your future? Do you feel lonely in your own home? I promise you deserve to feel loved and appreciated just the way you are. If you would like to lose weight to feel healthier, then do it for you. Treat yourself with the care, kindness, and the love that you deserve from family. Be your own best friend. Your BFF wouldn't want you treated like this. I want to add one thing that might help OP's perspective. Husband can't get involved in every little disagreement, so he doesn't have to defend OP. Well, husband sure had no problem defending his parents and getting involved on their behalf. They're adults too. The excuse of "I shouldn't have to defend an adult" isn't his actual opinion. Husband's view is "I won't defend wife." Yes. Absolutely this. My soon-to-be ex used to do the same thing. Finally, someone pointed it out. You mean he won't get involved if his family does something that insults you? He won't stand up for you, but he'll defend his family if you do something that somehow insults them? He'll get involved. Of course he will. When you can be blamed, no matter how minor the infraction, is always somehow your fault. I went, she was right. And thus began the long journey of discoveries of exactly how much manipulative and abusive behavior I had endured for years. OP, you're not the a-hole. You're the victim. Start taking a good long look at your marriage. The situation sucks, yes, but in itself doesn't necessarily warrant divorce. The problem is, it's indicative of other behaviors. Other issues you may not realize are just as harmful. Chances are, this behavior of his isn't the problem. It's a symptom of something much bigger. Love and protect yourself, really. There are several indications of bigger issues here, and you owe yourself a good long look. Not the a-hole, but why exactly are you married to this a-hole? He polices your weight and laughs when his family insults you. WTF? If a member of my family said something like that to my wife, which they wouldn't, I'd throw them out myself. Immediately. No hesitation, the next words out of my mouth would be, "Get out." And he's hypocrite. He won't defend Opie or get involved when his dad outright insults her because she's an adult and she shouldn't be sensitive. But when his parents feel insulted because Opie walked away, then he has something to say. Well, his parents are adults too, and they should be far less sensitive about people quietly leaving. They're all just mad Opie refused to be the night's entertainment by being their verbal piñata. Hold your head high, Opie, and keep walking away from insulting a-holes. If you're looking to diet, I know a great way to lose a couple 100 pounds of dead weight. It's called a divorce, not an a-hole. Update. My sister claims she caught my girlfriend cheating with a friend of mine, but they both deny it. Original post. My girlfriend and I have been dating for a little over 3 years. Everything was great until about 6 months ago. We stopped being intimate as much as we used to, and I'll admit that was mostly my fault. Work got really stressful, and I had some family issues I had to deal with, and unfortunately, my relationship suffered a bit. We talked, and I promised to put more effort into us. I do think things have gotten better overall, but I know we both still have room for improvement. Despite everything, I absolutely love this girl and don't want to lose her. Last night, my girlfriend told me she was going to the club with some friends after work. I didn't think anything of it. They do this from time to time, so whatever. Last night, around 11 p.m., my sister sent me some texts saying she saw my girlfriend and my friend making out at the club. I didn't believe her, and she said that when she went to grab her phone to get proof, they had stopped, but were still dancing very intimately and did manage to get a couple of pictures. It made me very uncomfortable. I asked if they left together, and she said she doesn't know. Here's my problem with all this. About 4 years ago, my sister told me she had a crush on my friend. She confessed to him, and it turned her down. Hard, apparently. He told her she's not his type, and she's way too young. According to him, she was persistent, and he ended up being a little mean about it. She was really hurt by it, and even now, she refuses to speak to him. It took her a whole year before she could even be in the same room as him. As far as I know, she has a decent relationship with my girlfriend. They aren't friends, but are friendly. This morning, I sent the pictures and a text to my girlfriend and my friend and asked WTF was this. They both said all they did was dance. I told them they looked really close, and that it was really inappropriate. She told me I'm being paranoid. I told them what my sister said she saw, and after a bit of arguing, my girlfriend said I either believe her or my sister. I told her I don't know what to believe, and that I need time to think, and she said whatever. I messaged my friend privately and asked him to explain everything. I basically begged him, and he hasn't messaged me. Not answering me feels like a sign of guilt. I don't think my sister would lie about this, but there is a part of me that thinks she might have saw an opportunity to hurt my friend for hurting her, or maybe I'm just being naive. I'm really not sure what advice I'm looking for. I just don't know how to go forward. Now for the top advice before reading the update. From the story, I believe your sister. She gave you proof that they were too close, and her story sounds plausible based on the evidence she provided. The silence of your friend and your girlfriend's crappy reaction. I'm sorry, I wouldn't look past this. In addition, neither one of them told you they saw each other at the club and danced together? Yeah, and why would your sister wait 3 years to exact this revenge on your friend OP? Like seriously? That's an explanation you're considering? Unless your sister has a history of making things up and making false accusations, that's a pretty flimsy way to explain this all away. Every part of her story adds up. She was even able to get some pics. If your friend was innocent, he wouldn't be ghosting you, man. Come on. This is all wishful thinking on your part. Your sister did you a favor and you can't trust your girl or your friend. They clearly have no problem betraying you and lying to your face about it. You deserve better, man. Sorry this happened, but be glad your sister was there to uncover the truth. She did you a favor. Not only that, I don't think the sister would hurt her brother to get back at the friend. Come on, OP. Don't try to come up with doubt to discredit your sister because the truth hurts. You'll end up losing her as well. I think it's a major red flag that they said all they were doing was dancing. If it made you uncomfortable, then it made you uncomfortable. That's a relationship. Cheating and boundaries are different for everyone, and if you're upset about it, then they should be respectful and try to fix that. She should not get mad at you, and you should not be feeling bad about your feelings. I'm so sorry, Opie. This is such a tough situation. Also, did you know this friend was going to be out with your girlfriend? Like, is this your mutual friend or your friend originally? I didn't know he was going out or that he would be with her. As far as I know, it was a girl's night out. He's been my friend for about 10 years. They're friendly, but they've never hung out as far as I know. Yeah, that and the fact they got defensive is very clear your sister wasn't lying. She did not tell you he would be there. If it's normal for them to be around each other, then there is definitely something going on. Once again, so sorry. Now for the update. So I figured I'd give an update to what happened. They never texted me back, at all. I probably would never have heard from either of them if I hadn't told them I just wanted the truth. They agreed to come over Monday night and explain everything. The long and short of it is that they did go back to his place and did a deed, but claim it was the first time. About 4 months ago, they ran into one another after her and I had a particularly bad fight that I don't even remember, and he noticed she was upset. So he took her out for lunch and they talked about our relationship and me. They exchanged numbers. She ended up texting him about 2 weeks later after I went fishing with some friends for the weekend, and apparently have been texting daily and hanging out 2 to 3 times a week. She went to extreme detail about exactly how I've pushed her away these last 6 months. I told her I thought things got better after we talked about everything. And she claims it got better for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then it was right back to where it was. I asked why she didn't bring it up again, and she claims she did. I told her regardless, she should have just broken up with me, and that cheating on me shouldn't have been her response to what was happening between us. She agrees she messed up, but says I share blame in all this as well. I asked her if it was just physical between the two of them, and they both said no. I also asked why not just tell me the truth when I confronted them with the pictures, and they said they panicked. I asked him if he has anything he wanted to add, and he said he's sorry it happened the way it did, but he's not sorry that it happened. I told him there are dozens of women out there he could have gone for. Regardless of the problems between her and me, he didn't have to go for my girlfriend. He said she hasn't been my girlfriend for 4 months. I just told him to get out. I don't really know how I'm feeling right now. I hated them when they walked in and when they left, but now I don't know. I went to remove her from social media last night and she had a picture on her Instagram of the two of them. I skimmed through the comments and some people were asking what happened to me. Some people were congratulating them and saying they looked cute together, so that didn't feel great. I also apologized to my sister for throwing her under the bus. I didn't realize that I did that until some people commented that that's exactly what I did. She said she doesn't care if it meant finding out the truth and getting them out of my life. I'm probably staying single for a while. Some people suggested therapy, and maybe that's something to explore down the line. Anyway, that's it. I would have responded to the comments asking what happened to you. Well, she cheated on me with my best friend, and now they're apparently together. We broke up last night when she admitted betting him and tried to blame me. Friends, beware of both these people, especially around your partners. But I'm petty as heck. Yeah, I absolutely would have replied with something along these lines as well. No reason to sugarcoat it, and you certainly don't owe these two cheating betrayers a damn thing. If they aren't ashamed of their behavior, then they shouldn't mind you telling everyone the truth. I'm sorry this happened to you. You deserve to have better people in your life. Your ex telling you that you're partially to blame is a bunch of BS. If she wasn't happy, you break up. You don't cheat, especially with your partner's best friend. They're both horrible people. You focus on yourself now. Get therapy and learn from this relationship. Enjoy time with the friends who got your back. Take your sister out for dinner or something to just thank her and talk and have fun. Go fishing, try new hobbies, and enjoy yourself. The right woman will come along. Good luck to you. And make a public post about their cheating. Tell her family, his family, mutual friends, then block both of them. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I want to invite the drama that's going to cause into my life. Do it. Block their numbers and take a break off social media. Keep the statement to the point like, so many of you may have questions in regards to my relationship. I found out my ex-girlfriend and friend of mine were cheating behind my back for some time. I'm going to take a break off social media and focus on healing, moving past this and working on myself. Please feel free to reach out if you are looking to hang out. Don't name call. Try and make it as to the point as possible so it can't be twisted around like you're the a-hole. Also, remember they'll probably be telling people their own version of it. Either way, sorry to hear OP. It's likely they'll end up cheating on each other. She may try crawling back, but hopefully you see how toxic of a person they both are. They're the type that you have to cut in order to succeed in life. Best of luck to you. I took the high road and didn't say or post anything. My ex, on the other hand, spun some crazy story that made her out to be a victim of mistreatment and emotional manipulation, when in reality, she cheated on me and got angry that I moved out and stopped paying the bills. People eventually saw through the lies, but in the meantime, I got so much grief, which is the last thing you need when you're heartbroken and trying to pick up the pieces. Better to post a factually accurate account with no name calling etc. like the above, and then just not comment. Next story. Came home and significant other is gone. Warning, this post is from the cesspool r/adultery, where degenerates unapologetically, even proudly, post about their affairs and how they fool their partners. Original post. Longtime lurker and occasional commenter of this great sub, but using it throwaway because my paranoia is at an all-time high right now. I have great OPSEC, but also haven't seemed to need it because my wife works all the time, and we do have a great intimate life. So I would be shocked if she even suspected I was doing what I was doing. That's why I'm losing my mind right now. I come home from work yesterday and usually my wife gets home about 30 minutes after I do. When I realized it's getting late, I called and got no answer. I checked our room and her things are gone. She left the house completely untouched, just took all her clothes but left no note. I can't get in touch with her through phone, email, and her friends won't answer. She must know, right? Which, why wouldn't she ask me? Who finds out and just leaves? Is it possible she doesn't know and left for someone else? This is not what I want. How do I not go through this? I wouldn't have done it if I thought she'd find out. Sorry, I'm just desperate. I need to fix it. Because man, I need to know how she even found out. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Okay, what did you think would happen if/when she found out? Were you disappointed that she didn't scream and cry and played a pick-me game? She found out and decided it was a deal breaker on her end. You got off easy. No arguing, screaming, and crying. No therapy or marriage counseling to sit through and pay for. Probably took those months to stash some cash, find a place or another guy. Don't think there's any fixing this. Maybe a little. Don't know why I felt that way. But yeah, I guess I wanted to see some kind of reaction. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's just how I feel. She makes most of the money, so that's another freaking kick in the nuts. I'll basically have to ask her for some kind of support to keep living the kind of lifestyle we've been living. I wish she would fight me. Seems like she's willing to let everything go, including her own money, just to avoid me. And it's making me feel like I don't know her. I'm truly sorry for all involved in this, but I just have to say, she made a badass exit. That sounds like some Beyoncé stuff. Okay, I could understand her leaving, but her leaving without a word is almost not human. Nothing badass about it. It's not who she is either. She's sweet, and that's why I love her. Her being cold like this is not going to make me want to respect her more. Your reaction to this whole scenario is ridiculous. You cheated, you got caught, you gambled and lost this round. Unfortunately, your soon-to-be ex-wife doesn't owe you any more respect or loyalty than what you've shown toward her. I also think you have a lot of nerve to call her behavior sociopathic. The fact that she was immediately done without wanting to attempt reconciliation makes me think you may have not been the greatest husband yourself. It sounds like she has no reason to fight for you or your relationship. It's done. You have proven to her that you aren't the type of partner she wants, and apparently she wasn't the one for you either. Once things have settled, this would be a good time to self-reflect on what you actually want out of a relationship, and if monogamy or E&M is more your thing. Now for the update. I had no idea this would get so much input, but it has helped, and I appreciate it. I've been here a while, but this was my first time posting, and it has helped me vent and process, so thank you. Also, if I'm being honest, I'm sure that the attention or engagement has helped me cope a little. I finally talked to my wife this afternoon. I've been in our house since Thursday night by myself, pretty much clueless as to what was going on, until her mother, who she has very little contact with, reached out to me. I was caught. I've been caught since March. Wife texted me today saying she had intended to contact me through a lawyer and just let the divorce do the talking. But since her mother decided to contact me, she would answer any questions I had if I had a desire to speak to her. Clearly I did. I asked her why she stayed around after she knew, and how she just lied to me like that. She said it wasn't her intention, but she shut down to figure out what she needed to do regarding our relationship and herself. At the end, she said something like she realized she still loves me but doesn't respect me, and she said she thinks that I love her but don't respect her either. So we should go our separate ways. She already got her job to move her to the city she's been asking me to move to for a long time now, and said she'd like to sell me her half of the house if I want it. If not, we can list it. But I guess our lawyers will handle that paperwork, and I still have no idea if I want our house without her in it. I'm glad I talked to her, but I'm sad at how moved on she is. She did cry a little, but then stopped. I asked for therapy, and she said I should have asked for that when I realized I had impulse control issues. I've been drinking for 48 hours now, and sorry for the rant. I don't think it's losing her that's hurting, but losing like this. Can't get over him thinking her exit was just as deceitful as him cheating. He thought it was more deceitful. What a piece of trash human. Seriously, calling her a sociopath because she was able to act like everything was normal for a couple months? How much longer had he been doing that exact same thing? What a muppet. Okay, I could understand her leaving, but her leaving without a word is almost not human. Pretty sure the fact she's divorcing the guy makes it clear she doesn't care what he thinks of her. The level of delusion is ridiculous. The audacity of cheaters never ceases to amaze. I do greatly appreciate seeing inside the mind of someone like this. Watching him try to villainize her for her reaction to his violating their marriage, breaking her trust and hurting her, is wild. Well, that was a wild read. The mental jujitsu this guy has to do to make her the bad guy would be exhausting to anyone with a normally developed sense of morality. Okay, I could understand her leaving, but her leaving without a word is almost not human. It's this line that really freaking gets me. Cheating on your partner and essentially bragging about how good you are at it online and then saying that is beyond delusional. I was so confused when I started reading this. The title and spoiler alerts made me think she left OP after cheating for months. The wording still didn't make sense with that interpretation until I got to the part it was OP who had an affair partner, and I had to reread the entire first section again. It was unreal that he thinks she's the bad guy and sociopath here. That sub is genuinely so disgusting. Sometimes I go there just for the drama and always leave feeling gross and sad. It's just really depressing knowing people like that are out there and have partners they care so little about. The mental gymnastics they go through are wild. Update. Am I the a-hole for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex, despite her having cancer as a teenager? Original story. My 25 female father married my stepsister's 23 female mother when I was 4 and she was 3. We've lived together most of our lives at our family. She and I were extremely close. She developed cancer when she was 14 and was sick for about 2 years. She since made a full recovery. During that time, my parents became understandably overprotective. They also asked a lot of me. I quit my extracurricular so I could get a job. The money went towards her medical bills, and so I could drive her to appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any fun activities I did needed to include her. I did almost all of this willingly, the exception being having to quit my high school volleyball team. I did throw a bit of a tantrum about that, but was swiftly punished. And I think having one emotional breakdown was pretty chill given the circumstances. Anyhow, I go to college and meet my ex. We'll call him Ben, when I'm a junior. We fall in love, blah blah blah. He and I moved in together and we graduate, so we've been living together for about 3 years. We were serious until July when I walked into my bedroom and saw him being intimate with my sister. I broke it off. Tears were shed, he moved out, etc. My sister apologized at first, but then backed off. I thought she was giving me space, but last week she called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she and Ben were in love, and were just telling me as a courtesy before they started posting photos online. Distraught, I left her in the restaurant by herself and did not pay my portion of the bill. She later Venmo'd me asking for the money. She told my parents, who then called me to their house, telling me how disappointed in me they are for not supporting my sister's relationship with Ben. They brought up the fact that because she had cancer as a teenager, she never learned proper social etiquette and has a hard time meeting people. I don't buy this, in parts because I've seen her socialize just fine. And since we spent a good chunk of the time she was sick together, that would also mean I should have bad social skills as well by that logic. They then told me that if I don't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they may have to go no contact with me. I reminded them that I'm also their daughter, and they should understand my point of view, but they are adamant that this is about me being jealous of her. For the record, I'm not jealous of her. I'm not upset that Ben picked her over me. I'm sad about the end of the relationship and do feel betrayed, but Lord knows that I don't want to be with a cheater. What I'm upset about is the fact that my sister chose Ben over me. That she slept with Ben knowing he and I were in a long-term committed relationship, and continues to be with him knowing how much it hurts me. Now no one in my immediate family is talking to me, and I'm getting messages from aunts and uncles and cousins telling me that I'm an a-hole and a selfish witch. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Not an a-hole. Your parents are enablers. Cancer as a teen did not shrink wrap her and isolate her from the entirety of human morality and values, forever and ever, amen. From what you describe, it sounds disturbingly like you have been deemed canon father of the family. Take some time for yourself, and put them on the back burner. Is it just cancer or any potential life-threatening disease that gives an exemption? I really need to know because I might have behaved unnecessarily for many years. I had cancer as a teenager. I've managed to not sleep with either of my siblings' partners, weirdly enough. Maybe you were on a different treatment plan. Not today, Hall. Having cancer as a teenager is not a valid excuse to be an awful person for the rest of your life. No, but Opie's sister and her parents will use it as an excuse ad nauseum. Oh, heck no. Your sister is using an illness she had a decade ago as an excuse to sleep with your boyfriend and have that be okay. It's not. The fact your parents are going along with us smacks of having a golden child. I'm sorry to say that sometimes the trash takes itself out. Your sister is awful. Your parents are and were awful. It was not your job to quit every activity to pay your sister's medical bills and drive her around. It's good that you know this now, and can get some therapy and move on with your life. You deserve better people in your corner, and they're out there waiting for you. Edit. I've been given a lot of food for thought. To be honest, while I've had moments where I've been resentful or upset about my teenage years, I've always thought that I did the right thing for my sister and for my family. At that time wasn't all miserable. I was very close to my sister and we made things as fun as we could. But I didn't think of it as an abdication of my parents' responsibilities, or that they were doing wrong by me, which many of you pointed out. I definitely have a lot to think about. Thank you again for making me feel less crazy about all of this. Now for the first update. Sometimes you can only laugh. Just got off of the phone with my cousin who saw this post and said he could explain a few things. I asked him why he was in Reddit instead of school. He asked me why I was in Reddit instead of work, and I said to Shay. He told me that after my conversation with my mom, she went to his house and talked to my aunt. And here's the deal. Turns out my sister is not only in a relationship with Ben, but 4 months pregnant. Which means she and Ben were hooking up for longer than I had even guessed. Apparently my parents are so adamant that I forgive her because I'm already ruining their experience of their first grandchild. That's right. I'm less important than my stepmom posting ultrasounds to Facebook. This is where we're at. Anyhow, I called out of work sick the rest of the day, and I'm going to drink a lot of alcohol. Like a lot of alcohol. And then start thinking about what on earth am I going to do. And now for the full update. I was asked for an update, and thus here I am. 2 things to clarify before I update. 1, I didn't have a horrible childhood. The favoritism started when my sister was diagnosed. I moved out soon after and have been pretty independent since then. Not saying that how my parents treated me during those years were okay, but I wasn't Cinderella. 2, I did not drink myself into oblivion. I had 2 white wine spitzers, but I appreciate the concern from folks. Anyhow, the update. I got in touch with my sister and asked her to meet up again at a park. No bill involved. I asked her if she was pregnant, and she told me the truth. She said she wanted us to still be in each other's lives and that she wanted me to be in her babies. A Redditor mentioned that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was correct. But as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd just become her bank and daycare employee. So I told her I could no longer be in her life. Then I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the crappiest person in the world. I emailed my parents and told them how betrayed I felt, and that I'd be cutting off contact with them. To my stepmom's credit, she apologized. She explained that she never thought my sister would live to have kids, and that she let her emotion take over and get the better of her. Understandable. My dad said nothing, which is honestly what sucked the worst about all of this. Ben tried messaging me from a burner account for the first time since the breakup, but I blocked him without reading it. I didn't go nuclear and post the story to Facebook as some suggested, but I sent an email to the extended family members who I care about. I explained the situation and how I'd be distancing myself from my family. Some have made it an us versus them situation, and as much as I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm in some valiant battle just makes me more tired. So I haven't been talking to much of anyone in my family. I feel lonely and crappy, but I think I made a right decision. Anyhow, not the most exciting update in the world, but hopefully everyone knows that I'm not dead. I do really appreciate the support I've gotten. It made me smile during a really awful time. I left her crying on a park bench and felt like the crappiest person in the world. You aren't. You made the right decision. Sometimes people aren't good to be in your life, and you have to do things even if they are hard. Keep trying to live your best life. Yeah, the sister really did this to herself. It's mind-boggling to think that you can do something so cruel to someone and expect them to just brush it off with no consequence. I'm glad Opie's creating some distance here. There's no way the family wouldn't continue taking advantage of her. I feel so sorry for Opie considering her dad has shown his true favoritism. It now basically knows that she has lost her parents' support. I hope she gets through this and finds people that truly support her. Thank you for the update, Opie. Very sorry about your father's passivity. That's gotta feel like a betrayal, and you don't deserve that. What you deserve? Every happiness, lots of joy, and a community of dear friends. And lots of pie at Thanksgiving. You deserve to be treated with respect, Opie. And your steps to create distance and boundaries are admirable. You're not a-hole by any stretch of the imagination. I'm so sorry that you had to go through such a painful experience, but it shows a true depth of character that you're on the sub promoting positive discourse. I'm sorry things turned out this way, and that you aren't a priority to your parents. But seriously, does she not realize that A, you and Ben were still sleeping together during those months and you could have just been stringing her along? B, has she never been in a relationship? How would you feel if you had done that to her? C, she can always wonder now if Ben is cheating on her with someone else, but it would be karma. Ultimately, I hope your parents realize that you are just as important as she is, and their behavior is pretty awful. Good luck. A, according to her, neither wanted to hurt me by telling me, which, lol. B, she's had a few boyfriends, but they only lasted a month or two. C, for her sake, I hope it doesn't. D, my stepmom told me that they'll welcome me back with open arms when I choose to come back. I'm just not sure that I'll come back as they won't be giving up on my sister. That's the fun part of giving up on them. You don't have to care anymore. You don't have to feel hurt or play games. You get to just be. That's what you will start to feel when this all normalizes. Just give it time. Find a new hobby or dust an old one off. Make something of your complete own that none of them were invited or included in. That will be your place of solitude, the rock that you set up, Shaban. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for making my ex move out? Hey everyone, I am 26 male and I recently broke up with my girlfriend, Lisa, of 2 years. Lisa had approached me telling me she wasn't happy in the relationship and wanted to work on it more, but nothing ever did seem good enough, and it began to feel like I was working all the time. On top of that, she was flirting with a classmate a lot, which made me feel uncomfortable, to be honest. The issue is, Lisa is in her last semester of college and broke. She doesn't work, her family is unable to help, and the school she attends is already having a housing issue, so they can't help until the next semester, which is in late January. 2 weeks ago, I gave her the 30 days notice required, and she blew up. She thinks she can live on campus next semester, but asks that I allow her to have the extra room. But I really don't want that. The relationship is over, and I no longer feel responsible for her. But if she moves out, she will have to withdraw from her classes, which will push her graduation back, and she would lose all of the money paid. Am I the a-hole for telling her she has 2 weeks left and she needs to be gone? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Maybe her classmate she was flirting with can commit to helping her. This Opie. Not your relationship, not your responsibility. This. Besides, it's not the worst thing taking an extra year. And if she really needs it, she can always take out a loan. Do not feel guilty or the one responsible here, Opie. No a-holes here. When my ex and I broke up, I offered him the spare room to get his stuff together. Because even though we weren't together, I still cared about him and his well-being. I set some pretty hard boundaries with him. But if that's not where you're at, that's not where you're at. Would have agreed with us if she wasn't busy flirting with other people whilst in a relationship with Opie. If you've lost feelings or you're feeling unhappy in a relationship, put an end to it. Don't go around emotionally cheating, especially when your other half works hard to pay the bills. This. Commenter in this thread is all, but ex is being demonized. Nah, if you're running around flirting with other people, go become their problem. Opie has been carrying the financial burden while Lisa does nothing. It's Lisa's fault she couldn't keep it together another 3 months. Not today, home. She's an adult and should fend for herself. You weren't responsible for her while the relationship is going on. You're sure as hell not now that it's over. I know too many people, myself included, who let their exes leech around off them after it's over because they feel guilty. It's not healthy for your mental health. She's gonna leech until she graduates. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to house sit for my brother on his honeymoon after he treated me horribly at his wedding? My brother got married in June, and he and his wife delayed their honeymoon to save money and recover from their wedding. Then he asked me a couple of days ago if I would house sit for them while they go on honeymoon. I told him hell no, and he had some nerve asking me after how I was treated at his wedding. The morning of the wedding, he had me run around to pick up his wedding cake. Didn't even give me the right place to go the first time, and I ended up running around in the rain going for a cake, and everyone's was I thanked. Actually, he and his wife complained at me for being late to the church. He actually canceled my room for his best friend who was coming from out of state without telling me, so when I went to grab my key, there was nothing there for me, and he kept the money I had paid. He booked our rooms for us and we gave him the money. They complained that I looked less put together than everyone else for the photos after the incident that morning. My hair got messed up, my makeup wasn't as professionally done as it has been, and I was put in the far corner for family photos to hide the fact. Adding to all that, he left me to pay the bar tabs as my contribution to the wedding, even though I had helped with wedding invites and table plans. I was the one who picked up their decorations from the place and brought them to the hotel and put them up. They needed somehow to show up and make sure they got what they wanted, on top of being sent for their cake at the last minute and getting crap for being late then when he gave me the wrong bakery first. Our parents took care of the tab and gave him so much crap for treating me the way he did. I was honest with them about the stuff they had said to me that day, and they were super pissed because I had already dedicated a lot of time to help them out. But now he's saying I'm being petty, and given we were good before the wedding, one day should not make me refuse to help him. Am I the a-hole? Like the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. You bent over backwards for your brother and sister-in-law, and they didn't show an ounce of gratitude. I don't know what it is about weddings that brings out one's inner a-hole, but these kind of stories makes me want to elope if I ever get married. It's rare we hear about a groomzilla. Your brother sounds like a piece of work, and I would have laughed at his face. Not the a-hole, Opie. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. I get that people want this perfect day. They want to feel like their day was magical. But how the hell is it magical when you treat the people you supposedly love like this? And the fact that he just doesn't care. I can't imagine treating my brother that way, especially if he was helping me. I always appreciate his help in the past. I just wish he could understand. I'm a college student who couldn't contribute money, so I contributed time. But on top of not appreciating that, he tried to stick me with a bill. Wanting your wedding to feel like a beautiful, special occasion doesn't make one an a-hole. Being rude, demanding, and cruel to those helping on said special day does. Weddings are about the joining of two lives, and by extension, two families. Your brother, however, missed this memo. He treated you as less than. He put expectations on you, and when things didn't go exactly as planned, he took it out on you. Instead of recognizing your efforts and being grateful, he treated you like something he stepped in. Opie, this speaks to your brother's character. Remember, you do not have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Relationship advice. Update. My 22 female sister 25 female is being outright cruel about my pregnancy and baby. Original story. I gave birth 10 months ago to an amazing baby girl, and my husband 23 male and I, though not actively trying, managed to conceive a second baby. This pregnancy is about 4 months along. My sister keeps saying that I ruined my body and commenting on my post-pregnancy body, saying she doesn't know how my husband can stand to look at me. Though she's not saying anything to or about my husband, she's also commenting on our relationship in a derogatory manner, particularly the speed with which we married. Shotgun wedding because baby. However, the thing that really sealed this for me came about a week ago when we, me, husband, baby, sister, our parents, were together in person for the first time since I gave birth, and my sister referred to my 10-month-old as a little C-word. For context, we are in the UK, where most people just say the C-word, as the word itself is considered to be the foulest word possible. My husband and I also told people about my second pregnancy at this gathering, and she called the stupid freaking C-words and told me not to come crying to her when my husband leaves me. My sister has never been married, never had kids, has no interest in having children, and no one has ever questioned any of this. So I have no idea where this is coming from or why her reaction was so extreme. But Jesus Christ. That is the first time she has ever met my child, and I am a married adult woman, so I have no idea why any of her reactions were so strong, but I am concerned. Should I, and how do I address this with her? Does anyone have any idea what her problem is? Now for the top advice before reading the update. What is your immediate family doing / saying during these comments of hers? Are they just shrugging it off? How does she get away with such vile comments? She needs to be told off by everyone in her vicinity. Immediately following that outburst, she stormed off. I went to follow her, but my husband and parents stopped me and we discussed her outburst briefly. And they congratulated us on the pregnancy, so no one said anything to my sister for that time. And after that, my husband and I left and our parents went after her, told her off, and told her to apologize. That would be the last time I would be talking to sister for a long time, even if she apologizes. You don't need that negativity in your life. I just wouldn't talk to her. Cursing at kids? Your kids? That's the part that gets me. Why would she even say it in front of the parents? Sister just needs to be cut out with a simple learn to respect me and my kids. One of my family members cursed at one of my kids. It was the last time we stepped into their house and have not seen or spoken to them since. Once that respect is broken, you are dead to me. Gonna be unpopular opinion, but personally, attacking someone's kid as well as making comments in almost everything about someone else is perfect grounds to get smacked up. I can't speak for everyone else, but this is certainly not unpopular with me. I'm only hesitating because it feels like something bigger is going on here. This was really extreme, even for my sister. And now for the update. At the time of my last post, my parents did not know that my sister had called my 10-month-old a C-word. I went to their house for some baby stuff, and during that visit I informed them, and they were shocked. My father immediately had my sister come downstairs for a talk. She tried to play it off, but our parents wouldn't let her. And by the end of that talk, she admitted she was jealous of my husband. Not my baby or my marriage itself, just my husband, who is attractive, a good provider, and loves me. She apologized and asked if we could start over, which I agreed to, more for our parents than for her. Turns out, that was a terrible idea. Our parents invited us to dinner that night, and she spent the entire night throwing herself at my husband, to such an extent that our dad called her out. My husband at one point went to the bathroom, my sister left the room, and then my husband came back shortly after and said that she asked him to leave me and the kids for her. We then left, and my sister called a few hours later and apologized again, saying she didn't know what came over her. I then told her to go screw herself. My father agrees that her actions were inappropriate and has said that he will pay for her to have private therapy, while my mother has said that she apologized, so I should forgive her and we should all try and move past this. My husband and I agreed that our family units would be taking a break from my sister, possibly forever, possibly until she's had that therapy Dad mentioned. But either way, she tried to seduce my husband while I was in the room, so I don't know what is going on with her. But clearly something is up. And until she sorts herself out, we're not touching it. Your father has the right idea. Words without actions are simply colorful lies. Your sister has already apologized for her horrible actions, yet she continued and one-upped them. She needs help, and until she demonstrates change, not just blathers an apology, I would have nothing to do with her. Yeah, OP, whenever I see posts like this, I think about this. If you left your purse out, and your sister tried to steal it, how many times would you leave your purse out for her? Your husband isn't a thing, but he is someone precious to you. I don't think it's worth even the 1% risk that your sister creates a big issue between you and your husband. I think this last episode should be the last time either of you see your sister. Your parents should come to your house from now on. Your sister did something awful. Now she has to live with the consequences of her actions. And those consequences are that she's done in your lives. Wow. Also, what is your mother thinking? Tell your mother that in order to help your sister in the best way possible, you will be keeping you and your husband away from her. I remember that you needed your mom for childcare support. I really hope that you can find an alternate solution. Parents can very often have a hard time accepting that their kids are irredeemable. I get it. I mean, they go through a pregnancy, birth a child that is a part of each of them, nurture and raise it through nursing, sleepless nights, potty training, ABCs, school, parenting, the health of adolescents, etc., etc. I can't imagine how one could easily accept that they have taken that innocent from baby to adulthood and it somehow turned out to be turd. I think it would be nearly impossible for me to give up on them, unless they had done something seriously morally unforgivable. What the hell is wrong with your mother? Would she forgive if her own sister did this to her? Gross as hell. She says my sister is going through a hard time, having to live with mom and dad. And me being in a loving relationship combined with having my own place and being further along in life milestones is making my sister feel bad, so I should cut her some slack here. Lol, nope. How many women who have had bad times in their lives try to seduce their sister's husband? This is not a cut some slack situation. She asked your husband to leave his family for her. Your sister is malicious, and the way your mom behaves, I suspect she's the golden child. Suggestion: no contact with her for the rest of your life. If your mom keeps saying this, go low contact with her too. Now for the next story. My 33 male, sister 29 female is upset that I won't let her family stay with me. I'm currently married to my wife and we have a 3-year-old son. We bought a house and we are financially quite secure. My sister recently had twins last year. They were never ever financially stable till that point, working odd jobs and whatnot, but they finally figured it out. But they didn't expect 2 babies, and at the same time the pandemic hit and their finances took a heavy blow. Apparently they took out loans to keep their family afloat. Somehow 3 months after her birth, my sister got pregnant. We all told her to think about this wisely. She could barely support herself and her 2 children. A third would not be wise. She went ahead with it and had to cough up $10,000 not covered by insurance on a C-section. She and her husband are $50,000 in debt. It isn't so bad, except for the fact they haven't held a job for more than a year at a time, and now my sister is sidelined taking care of 3 newborns. They now can't afford a rent after all that. It seems like there isn't a lot of government support except for some food stamps, and I think a little bit of money. She has asked to live with me. My son is just getting out of the phase where we have to watch him 24/7. We can put him to bed and relax for an hour. I don't know how I could ever relax with 3 newborns. But for my sister, I was open. I asked her how long would she need, and she said 1 to 2 years. I told her that wasn't happening. They want to make enough money so they can pay off some of the loans to improve their credit. However, that's way too long. I also know legally they could make us think. And I know my sister. She dragged me through the mud if it meant a nice home for her. I finally offered her 3 months rent in a 2-bedroom apartment. She has been crying since saying I don't care for my nephews/nieces. I felt bad, but I told her that I'm not supporting her bad choices. This was on her, and as a grown adult, she needs to figure it out. My parents called me to be understanding, but when I put them on the spot, they immediately quieted down. My sister is upset and calling me crying every day, saying she can't put food on her table or buy diapers for her kids. I'm at loss for what to do. Now for the top advice. I suppose marks to them for honesty that they need years to get back on their feet. That is what it is going to take. Longer if they keep having more kids, which all the indications are that they will. Your offer of 2 months rent is more than generous. Now they need some months paid by other members of the family. Your parents, father's parents, etc., etc. The father needs to get a job. Any job. He works at a gas station for below minimum wage. Okay, I take that back. Any minimum or above wage job. No offense, but if you let her move in, she'll likely try and pull all sorts of legal insanity to not leave. Don't do it. I know you want to help, and you made her a great offer with 2 months in an apartment. But if she won't take that, then she's looking for an easy way out, not a responsible one. I also know legally they could make a stink, and I know my sister should drag me through the mud if it meant a nice home for her. This was the most telling part of the post. I hope he knows the right answer already. My parents called me to be understanding. Great. Looks like your parents are willing to help. She can go to them. After all, she's their daughter and are somewhat responsible in her education, leading to her poor choices. I doubt they will like this, but have they considered Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Maybe they could talk to a lawyer. We had to do this 30 years ago, but he told us to find a place to live before doing it, because otherwise no one will rent to us. So we found a small house. It was humiliating, but such a relief to start over. 30 years later, we own our own house and put 3 kids through college. If they don't have a degree, it will be much harder. They must purge every unnecessary cost. We were able to keep our car because we kept up the payments. If they want to consider it, they should talk to a bankruptcy lawyer. I don't know the current rules. We did it and lived 3,000 miles from our family and never asked for money. Though I know they'd have taken us in if the alternative was living on the street. They're so far in debt, they'll never pay it off with minimum wage. In Michigan, there are help wanted signs all over. Now for the last story. My 17 female best friend 17 female is actively trying to date my boyfriend 17 male, despite knowing we're together because she feels that she deserves it after going through emotional trauma. To give a bit of background, my boyfriend and I have been dating for 2 years as of March, and we are both intent on keeping it long term. My friend was the first person I became friends with in primary school, and I have been in varying levels of contact with her myself, but still hold a lot of respect for her. My boyfriend and I are both pretty avid video gamers, and we would play various games with a variety of people. During one game, we were running short on people to invite, so I ended up asking her to join us, as some people were familiar with her and it seemed to be a good opportunity to catch up. Now, my boyfriend is definitely not the confrontational type, and tries to be a good person when he can. Friend happened to be new to the game, and he was giving her quite a lot of pointers on how to start out, etc. Even when she started going to slightly questionable lengths, like following him around and only cheering for him, he didn't say anything, probably because he didn't think anything of it. Fast forward to about 3 months later, I happened to be meeting up with friend and some mothers from my primary school to catch up. During this, the conversations at some point turns towards the game we were playing, and she, with visible enthusiasm, exclaims about how kind he was to her, and how she would make out with him if she could. By this time, my relationship with this boy was very much public, and I have no doubt in my mind that she was aware of this. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit of a timid myself, and didn't say anything to her about it, thinking it was just a phase. Another 4 months later, I find out from a close friend, who doesn't know me and my boyfriend are together, that she has been talking to her about how she feels deeply for my boyfriend, and feels upset when he isn't texting her, which she communicated to me himself was because he wasn't interested. I saw text messages proclaiming about how much she liked his appearance, personality, all the jazz. At this point, I felt like it had gotten a bit out of hand. So I personally decided to talk to her about how my boundaries were important, and neither me nor my boyfriend appreciated her attempts to flirt with him. From this, she decided to go into a tangent about how hard high school has been for her, and how much she wanted a boyfriend, as it was about 2 months since she ended her last relationship. She's currently not talking to me, and I've heard from my boyfriend that her constant attempts to message him are getting more intense. She knows that it has always been my dream to work in the medical field, and recently she told my boyfriend about how she wants to enroll in med school after spending 6 years judging me for putting a lot of effort into my studies. To make things worse, she has been telling him that she will show up to his house without me knowing and steal him from me. Since we were in primary school, every time I told her I had a crush on someone, she would make it her primary goal to pursue and get them to crush on her. Which is why I think she's so hesitant now, as I never said anything to her as I was a child. However, my relationship with her is one I cherish a lot, and I don't want to lose her, but at the same time, I don't want to be sharing my boyfriend with someone else. I need some guidance in choosing what to do, so I came here for any help. Your friend is an a-hole and I wouldn't be friends with her. Ah yes, friend. OP needs to stand up for her partner. He's being harassed and stalked by the psycho. And the reason why he hasn't done anything about it? He's scared of causing a rift between friends and being the cause of an issue. His reactions are very common for someone in that position. This. OP, you are allowing your friend to bother your boyfriend, and that is not okay. Block her. Tell your boyfriend to block her and find better friends. She is not your friend. Like at all. Not even a little bit. Your boyfriend needs to outright say, "I'm not interested. Leave me alone and do not contact me." And he needs to be proactive in making sure everyone around her knows he's not interested. He's never been interested, and she is going to much further lengths than he's comfortable with to convince him to be interested. She's going to talk crap. Cut her out of your life, trust me. These kinds of people just get worse. I had a similar situation and I immediately just tossed them out of my life. One of the best decisions I ever made. She's not a friend. She is a witch. Cut contact with her in all ways, and make sure your boyfriend blocks her. Update. Am I the a-hole for wanting to bring my boyfriend to my family's Christmas celebration? Original post. I, female 23, have been dating my boyfriend, male 28, for 4 months, and I am totally smitten. He's the sweetest, smartest, kindest, most caring guy I've ever met, and I feel so lucky to have found him. We met at the start of the new semester at our university. He's a graduate student and was running a tutoring group I joined, and now I'm a senior getting my bachelor's. We hit it off immediately and found that we had a ton in common, including the same hometown. We even went to the same high school, although we never met previously. He graduated a year before I started my freshman year, but he was in the same grade as my sister. I asked if he knew her, and he said yes, that they ran in the same circles, but they hadn't kept in touch since graduation. We spent the last 4 months growing super close, and we were talking about maybe bringing each other to our family holiday celebrations. We didn't get to do Thanksgiving, but we decided to do Christmas together, and I was so excited. I hadn't told my parents or sister I was seeing anyone, so I decided to call and let them know, and also to make sure it wasn't an issue if he came to our Christmas celebration this year. My mom was super excited for me when I told her all about boyfriend, and my dad said he sounded like a nice young man and he would be glad to meet him. I then called my sister and told her the news, and even joked that it would be like a high school reunion for her. She was initially excited to meet a new boyfriend, but when I told her who it was, her mood changed dramatically. She told me she would not be comfortable having a stranger at her family's Christmas and that she was sorry but he couldn't come. I was a bit shocked and asked her to explain, because she is very outgoing and never had a problem with strangers before, and this isn't the first boyfriend one of us brought home for the holidays. I asked if she had not liked him in high school or something, and that's why she didn't want him to come. She said no, and she barely even remembered him. I asked if she would feel better meeting him before Christmas so it's not overwhelming on the actual holiday. She got really firm and told me that she didn't want to meet him before, during, or after Christmas and to just drop it. She then hung up on me. She then texted me a little later that it was rude of me to keep trying to force her to meet someone she doesn't want to, and she hopes I won't bring it up again. This makes no sense, as my sister is not usually like this. I asked my mom about it, but she is just as confused as I am, and said she would talk to her for me. I obviously won't bring my boyfriend if it makes my sister uncomfortable. I just wish she would give me a good reason, especially since she basically said she never wants to meet him. I'm just so confused. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole, but I think there's some reason that your sister doesn't want to see him. I don't believe for a second she doesn't know who he is, but I think you would be the a-hole if you kept pushing. I don't believe her either, and if he did something bad, I would 100% be on her side. I tried to start telling her this on a call, but she told me to drop it and stop bringing it up. Ask your boyfriend then. If him bullying her or doing not nice things to her in high school would have you look at him differently, it's better to get it out of the way now. That way, if there is a reason you wouldn't want to be with him because of who he was in high school, it's 4 months in, instead of after he proposes and your sister drops a major bomb on you. There is obviously more. She barely remembers him, but he knew her. They ran in the same circles, and they didn't keep in touch? Yeah, something happened. It could be anything. From something really nasty to she liked him but he asked her best friend out, and the best friend went out with him instead of saying no, or something equally as petty. If she doesn't give an explanation, then she doesn't get a say. But that is a fine line. I understand if it was something traumatizing, it may be hard to talk about. However, no one understands what's going on with her. Your best bet is to ask your boyfriend if he knows why she may be this upset about him. Then you decide on what you want to do depending on his answer. This has super strong vibes of that other post, where someone was dating their sibling's bully and then got angry when they didn't want them in their home. Just because he's good to you doesn't mean he's good to everyone else. I do believe your sister owes you an explanation though. No a-holes here. I really hope this isn't the case. My sister never mentioned anything about being bullied in high school. But to be fair, we weren't very close back then because I was in elementary/middle school and she thought I was annoying, lol. If it turned out he bullied her, I would not continue dating him. I can't imagine him doing that as he's very kind-mannered. But I do understand people aren't always what they seem. My sister would need to express this to me though. Now for the first update. I talked to my boyfriend last night and he also seemed confused. I asked him to please be honest with me and to let me know if anything went on between them beyond just running in the same circles. He told me no, and they had only ever hung out in groups. She was really more a friend of a friend, and he had a long-term girlfriend he was committed to throughout high school, so he didn't even hook up with her. She also never bullied him, and from his perspective, he never bullied her. He said they were always friendly/civil, and never so much as got in an argument. He doesn't know what her issue with him is. There's obviously more to this story from my sister's side, so I have to try to speak to her again. Probably in a few days when I go home for the holidays. Second update. So, I got home on Wednesday, went to dinner with my sister, and she was acting as if nothing had happened. Finally, I just brought it up, and she immediately got upset with me. She told me to just leave it alone. I told her that I have very strong feelings for this man, and if she has an issue with him, I would like to know what it is, so I can make an informed decision about my relationship. I wouldn't want to be with someone who had hurt my sister or was a bad person. She told me he never hurt her, he didn't bully her, and she simply didn't want a strange man at her family's Christmas. This just angered me, and I pointed out she's bringing her boyfriend of 7 months. She said it's different because I already met her boyfriend, and I told her technically she's already met mine, and I offered for them to meet before, and she shut me down. The conversation really didn't go anywhere productive, and we both left mad. That night, I ended up messaging my sister's childhood best friend to see if she knew anything about my boyfriend. I played it as, "Did you know my boyfriend in high school?" rather than, "What the heck is my sister's problem?" She confirmed his name and then asked if my sister knew yet. A red flag went up, and I said yes, and she doesn't seem happy. She then asked to call me. A lot of you were right, and it turns out my sister was obsessed with my boyfriend from 7th grade all the way until they graduated and went to college in different states. I asked her if there was more to it than that, because I can't believe my grown sister would act this way over a little crush, and she told me it wasn't a little crush. She was legit in love with him. Since she said in love, I asked if my boyfriend knew or if anything had happened between them, and she said that as far as she knew, he didn't know and they for sure had never hooked up, to my sister's extreme displeasure. So she pined for him for years, and was devastated when he started dating one of their other friends freshman year. She would show up to his work with other guys, only go to parties if she knew he was going, hooked up with his best friend to try and make him jealous, and once even tried to break him and his girlfriend up. When my boyfriend and his then-girlfriend did eventually break up senior year, my sister thought it was her big moment, but he never even gave her a second glance. Apparently, she's held a small torch for him all these years still, and her friend says she thinks she would still want to be with him if he would have her, and she's probably just jealous. I am sort of relieved. Some of the comments in my original post had me extra scared for what I was gonna find, but now I'm also angry. She's really going to ice my boyfriend out of our family events over a high school crush that she never even told him about. I do feel for her. It sucks when you really like someone and they don't like you back. But I'm upset she wouldn't just tell me and made it into a bigger deal than it needs to be. I'm going to try to talk to her one more time and let her know I know about her crush. And hopefully we can deal with this like adults. Thank you everyone for all of your comments and support. Wow. I knew it was a crush, but I didn't know it was this bad of a crush. There's a crush, and then there's an unhealthy admiration/obsession with someone. Following him to parties and trying to get a couple to break up is some stalker-type stuff. And sitting on the sidelines hoping to be asked out because you're perfect for each other, only to be annoyed the person you were pining for didn't even know you liked them, is some nice guy/girl stuff. Opie's sister is jealous and creepy, and just a plain hypocrite for then inviting her own boyfriend. That wasn't love, that was obsession. She needs to work on herself and let that lingering and healthy attachment go. I do think it's concerning she is behaving like this, and that in the past worked to break your boyfriend and his then-girlfriend's relationship. I'd consider bringing your boyfriend into the know, for him to have full awareness of the situation in case guards needs to be raised in the future. Good luck, Opie. I'm definitely going to speak with him too and let him know what the actual issue has been. I agree it wasn't love. I don't believe you can be in love with someone without being actually close with them. It was a high-intensity infatuation, and she may have fallen in love with the idea of my boyfriend she created inside her mind. I'm sure if she can just get past this initial issue she's having, she'll find it's time to let go. So she's upset that she never said anything, and did a few childish things to try and get his attention, and now you are dating him. I would say be careful. I know it sounds silly to you. Have things that happened in high school, judging by her reaction, I don't think she will try anything. But she may start drama. Clearly kinda has already, since she would not flat out tell you the issues. But hopeful thinking. May the holidays be peaceful and drama-free. Thank you. I'm hoping she's just going off that initial high school instinct and will soon see adult reason. Because all of this is just ridiculous at this point. Your sister sounds like a creep. She tried to break him and his girlfriend up? Yikes. It wasn't anything super crazy. From what I was told, just tried to plant some doubt in her friend's head about her relationship with boyfriend. She supposedly didn't make anything up, but was just extra hard on him when talking to his then-girlfriend, in hopes she would end up wanting to leave him. Still wrong obviously, but nothing like actually dangerous or anything. Third update. I appreciate the concern, guys. I have spoken to my mom and let her know what I was told. She's going to be going Christmas shopping with my sister sometime this weekend, so she said she could bring it up to her then as well if I wanted her to. I haven't decided if I should talk to sister first or let mom do it, but either way, my parents know the truth and think sister is being overdramatic. Last story. Am I the a-hole for maybe overreacting? My family consists of me, 28 female, my 2 older sisters, 30s, my brother, 25, my parents, and then my nieces and nephew. My nieces are my one sister's kids, and my 15-year-old nephew, Jack, is my other sister's kid. Jack is being raised by my parents, as his mom is unable to care for him and she was not present in this situation. Anyways, we were all sitting in the living room last night, and my mom was handing out glasses of hot chocolate. She gave them to everyone, and then when it was Jack's turn, she noticed that she didn't have enough. He said it was fine. My dad and brother left to get something from the grocery store, and when they came back, they brought cookies for everyone. They were short one though, and immediately looked at Jack and said, "Sorry buddy, must have miscounted." Jack just shrugged it off. I offered to give him mine, but he said he didn't want it. Then it was time for dinner and everyone went to sit at a table while Jack quickly went to use the washroom. I noticed that there were no empty seats, but before I could say anything, Jack entered the room and my mom said, "I don't think we have any more space on the table. Would you mind eating in the kitchen?" He didn't even reply and went to his room instead. No one really cared. I didn't even blink at him going to bed after not eating all day. I felt really bad though. We didn't have any extra chairs, but I'm sure someone could have thought of something. I would have even given him my own chair. So I made him a plate and then went to go find him. I wouldn't say he was crying, but when I entered, his eyes were red, insanely red, and he looked incredibly sad. He was embarrassed but thanked me for the food. I left so as to not make him uncomfortable, but I was so upset. My nieces left to go do their own thing, and my siblings/parents noticed that I was upset and asked me what was wrong. I just said, "You're all so freaking terrible." They all went silent, but I continued and told them that I don't know if they were mistreating Jack on purpose, but they'd better be ashamed of themselves. They are all upset with me now, and insisted that they really didn't mean to ignore/exclude him and that is unfair for me to say these things. They're saying I ruined the night and I am overreacting, and that if Jack has an issue, he'd say so. The mood is still off, and now I don't know if I'm the a-hole or not, because maybe I shouldn't have said anything considering it's Christmas, and Jack doesn't seem to care. Not the a-hole. Jack is clearly used to being treated like this by his grandparents. He's so nonchalant about it because of that. Hearing about how his mother is unfit to care for Jack, I personally believe his grandparents are taking out their feelings on his mother on him. This isn't fair to him, and they need to be ashamed of themselves. You are absolutely not the a-hole for calling them out on that. They may not be completely aware of it, but now that they are, they need to change, or else that kid may go down the same path as his mom. And Jack most certainly does care, or he wouldn't be crying. And I would guess he has been told directly or indirectly that if he does not tolerate the poor treatment, he will not have a home, or similar. Like he knows to act like it is fine or else. This is horrifying. Opie, if you can, maybe you should take custody of your nephew? That is a huge ask, but he is being mistreated with your parents. Your sisters are in their 30s and Jack is 15, so I'm guessing your sister had him in her teens. Is that right? It seems like your parents are expressing their disappointment in your sister on Jack, and it's probably been happening his whole life. I have a large family too. We would never tell someone to eat in another room or forget or miscount. If it was a miscount, why was Jack always the last to be offered a treat? If I were you, I would start getting treats for only you and Jack. Sorry, I guess I miscounted. Not the a-hole. I thought it was weird too that Jack was the one that was always last and forgotten. Plus, was there no way to fix it? Like, could they not make more hot chocolate or split the cookies or something, instead of just making someone go without? And I was appalled when they asked Jack to go eat in another room and on Christmas. Like, it's supposed to be a family dinner. Or are they saying that he is not part of the family? And then they say that if Jack had an issue, he would say so. But would he really? If I was Jack and I had been excluded the entire night, I would probably feel like my family didn't care about me. And I probably wouldn't think they would care if I spoke up and said something. Plus, you wonder if Jack is treated like this a lot. And if he is, then he is probably just used to having to put up with it and not saying anything. Plus, it sounds like Jack was crying in his room alone. So I'm guessing it does bother him and he is upset. And then when Opie says something, the family says that Opie ruined Christmas? It sounds like they ruined Christmas for Jack and they don't care. Like, how would they feel if they were forgotten all night and then told to go eat by themselves? It would probably ruin Christmas for them. Opie, you are definitely not the a-hole. Please keep standing up for Jack. It sounds like he needs someone like you. Update. I found out my sister slept with my fiancé and I'm not sorry about what I did after. Original post. 30-year-old woman here. I have a sister who's just a year older than me. We've always had such a good relationship, so fighting about this one hurt. She might as well have just stabbed me in my heart. On top of that, I've been with my fiancé since high school, and we've always been with each other through thick and thin. We were going to get married in a few months. I have no idea why on earth they did this to me. What's even worse was that our mom knew, and out of fear of getting involved, my sister apparently begged her not to say a word. She didn't tell me anything. Thankfully, my dad wasn't having it and he spilled the beans to me. I've never been so angry in my life. Not only did I kick my fiancé out and throw out his stuff, some of it in the trash, but I decided to hurt my sister in another way. Why not do the same for my fiancé? Simple. She's my sister. We've always had a good relationship until she decided to ruin it months before my big day, which I allowed her to be a bridesmaid in. You don't do that to anyone, let alone your sister. Your blood. My sister's big on gardening, so when she lost her dog, she made a garden for him. I knocked on her door. She didn't know that I knew, and of course I played nice. I moved on to what she did with my fiancé, and I slightly damaged her garden. I honestly just crushed a couple of flowers. Am I sorry? No. Her excuse sent me over the edge. It just happened, isn't a reason. Sleeping with my fiancé just happened like that, I guess. I told her I didn't want her speaking to me anymore, and that I also didn't want our mom to speak to me. My fiancé won't say a word since I threatened to call the police if he ever come near me again. Yeah, I made my sister cry and scream at me, but I genuinely feel like I should be the one crying. She knew how important getting married was to me, and now I can't experience that. Pair that with the fact that I had to hear this from my dad, not my bum excuse of a sister or fiancé. Heck, even my own mother didn't say a word to me. It's like she lets my sister run her. F you, Tia. F you, Logan. If they ever see this, I'd be absolutely delighted. Edit. Since many people keep bringing this up, I'm upset that I lost a relationship I've always put 100% into. I was excited to get married, of course, but then this news came out. It really hurt me. I didn't want to believe it at first. I almost thought my dad was pulling my leg. Later, it turned out to be true. I swear, I have trust issues now. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Cut them off. Your sister has no respect or love for you. In fact, is probably jealous. I would move away and have nothing more to do with them. Family that swirl around in this swill are really dysfunctional. I would be gone. Family are some of the worst betrayers of people, do the most damage. So I would go no contact with all of them. This is one of those rare instances where it is appropriate to blame the affair partner just as much as well, like your own sister. Damn, I'm so sorry, girl, but you can still get married and do all the things you want. Just not with this horribly fake person that was in your life. Take your time to grieve. This was an assault on all ends of your trust, but consider it time saved for the right people later on. I'm curious on the details. Was it a one-time thing or did they care for each other? And as they say, if he cheats with her, then he'll cheat on her. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's searching for a new mistress now, since OP's sister doesn't sound interesting now and she's created a spot for a new mistress to take over. Your dad's a hero. Imagine living with a guy who had slept with your sister and you finding this out later, which you obviously would have at some point in life. The whole marriage would have been a lie. Your dad's a savior. Value him. I also wouldn't want to be married to my spouse anymore if they were fine with cheating. If this was me, I would be making a public Facebook post, so everyone knows why my wedding got called off. I can't believe your own mother would do this. The woman who brought you into this world, betraying you by helping your sister keep the secret is despicable. Thank God you have your father. I'd be outing my sister, ex, mom, all of them, and then turn off post notification and move on like nothing ever happened. Edit 2. Thanks again for all the suggestions, y'all. It's helping me feel more confident in exposing them. I'm just a bundle of nerves right now because I know crap's gonna hit the fan again. When I do so, I'll try my best to come up with an update. I mean, it's the least y'all deserve. Last edit. When I say I decided to hurt her, it's because I kinda ruined something so meaningful to her. I feel like for most people, besides on here, that would be a bit far. That's just how I feel though. I understand it's not what you guys wanted, lol. Clearly worked a bit though, since she thought I was so damn psychotic for that. Like I said, I don't feel sorry about hurting her that way. Now for the first update. Hey everyone, thanks again for the comments and support. I found out quite a bit. To start off, I did expose her and my ex in my story. I unblocked them both to tag them. Shout out to one of the commenters who wrote down what I should say. I saved it and wrote it, but added some other words of my own. My ex actually blocked me after he saw my story. I sent my Reddit post to my sister after. At the time she didn't see, but I got a call from my ex's mom. She was furious about everything, but she asked me how I was holding up and if I've heard the news. My heart sank a little because I honestly couldn't bear to hear any more bad news. I asked her what she was talking about. She said, "So you haven't?" I said no and asked her to tell me. My sister's pregnant. Apparently, he told her in an attempt to make her chill out on my sister. I didn't want to hear any more, so I told her I needed to hang up the phone. Thankfully, she accepted because I literally burst into tears 2 seconds later. After 5 minutes of crying, my sister responded to my story and texted with a Reddit post link. She was texting me in all caps, begging me to take it down. If I wasn't so upset, I would have laughed a little, but I just sat there watching her blow up my phone. I got even angrier when she said, "I'm coming over and I'm telling mom that you're spreading my business online. All right, you big baby." Still never responded though. I felt frozen. 30 minutes later, she's trying to break my door down. So I opened it in a fit of rage and I started screaming all kinds of abuse at her. She kept screaming at me to take it down, and I told her that's gonna stay up for as long as I wanted to. She kept telling me she didn't deserve online hate. And she even tried telling me that she's always been there for me through everything, and that she would have forgiven me if it was the other way around. She also said it's not my fault he was tired of you, and that's when I told her that I hope she ends up like her dog, and that she deserves every bit of hate she's getting for ruining my relationship. I even apologized for not ruining her entire garden and her stupid face at first. I know I'm wrong for saying this, but the entire time she was playing the victim. She called me evil and told me to rot in hell. Kept saying I was punishing her over a mistake. I said, "You have no idea what you've put me through, and I know you would have done the same thing if you were the victim." She kept crying and insulting me because all she's ever done was support me through everything, and I had the nerve to hurt her and allow strangers to bash her on the internet. I told her she deserved it, and I don't want her talking to me ever again. And if she comes near me, I'm calling the police. She kept saying I was being extremely unfair and that she said she was sorry in her texts, but I wasn't having it. I told her to tell mom I'm not talking to her again either. She asked me if I was really going to cut her off like that, and I just wished her good luck with her unwanted child and told her to go home. That was the last time she walked off my porch. Anyway, I had to clean up my favorite vase because she smashed it, but it doesn't even matter. At least they're out of my life. However, it's weird how sad I feel now. It's for my own good, but damn, I'll never experience the bond we had again. On the bright side, seems like I've dodged 2 bullets. Thanks again though, everyone. Maybe I do need therapy. I hope your sister's scummy story gets picked up by those Instagrams and TikToks and YouTubes that read off Reddit posts in a robot voice. I hope she can't escape hearing about it. And when there's a lull, I hope someone else in her life forwards one and says, "Oh my god, is this you?" I hope her messy business is spread all over the place in your friend group/family because it's the least she deserves. Stay strong, OP. This will pass for you, and you'll be better and stronger because of it. Your sister, on the other hand, good freaking riddance. Reminds me of a quote from the book Bird by Bird. You own everything that happened to you. Tell your stories. If people wanted you to write warmly about them, they should have behaved better. Classic narcissist move to try and shift the blame to you and manipulate you like you're not the victim here. Sorry, but your sister is a selfish witch. Do not take it down. Let the world know who she really is. Punishing her over a mistake? Seriously, like come on. She pretty much uprooted your life and destroyed relationships along the way. She knew what she was doing before she cheated and after. She likely felt guilty about it, but it doesn't change the fact that she did it. She needs to deal with the consequences. If she even wanted to start rebuilding a relationship with you, clearly your sister is more focused on her own image than actually feeling sorry. I doubt she felt guilty. That's why she hasn't shown any remorse or apologized. Just expected OP to rug sweep. Then went so far as to say, "It's not my fault Logan was tired of you." Her sister is a disgusting piece of work. I'll be laughing my butt off if we get another update saying OP's ex is cheating on his sister. Now for the last update. I've officially decided to go low contact with my dad today. Surprisingly, he wasn't that upset about it. However, he's still on team take down the posts, and that's why I made my decision. My mom wants nothing to do with me because if I wasn't going to respect the family, there's no point in trying to get to you. Wow, it's almost like that's what I wanted. My cousin and my ex's sister have been supporting me. Apparently, my sister has had meltdown after meltdown because more people are slowly finding out about the affair, not only in person but on the internet. She actually got into it with my cousin online, and according to my cousin, my sister keeps asking her to tell me to take down the posts because she's sorry and she felt pressured into doing what she did. Last, I even heard about my ex from his sister. She told me that they did speak, and although he's not ready for a child, he doesn't feel comfortable leaving my pregnant sister on her own. He also wants me to stop what I'm doing, but oh well, they're made for each other. Anyway, I've surprisingly been feeling a bit better thanks to my cousin and my new sister, as I like to call my ex's sister now. Haha. I've actually gotten some good sleep. Still considering therapy too. A very tiny part of me feels pretty bad for exposing my sister and ex, but I'll always miss the relationship I've had with them, even despite my last encounter with my sister, but they've hurt me and it's what they deserve. If they're not taking it well, that's their problem. Thanks everyone once again. Leave your posts up. Sister deserves to be called out and her friends need to know she may sleep with her boyfriends. Speaking of her friends, I actually have no idea what they think about this, but I can assume they found out, of course. My sister is not taking this well, so I'm assuming they're pestering her with questions too. Not taking this well? She isn't the victim here. Keep those posts up. This right here. She is not the victim. And with the truth out there, she finds it hard to play the victim. People like this need to be put on blast, because the reality is they probably will never change. It's weird how your mom is scolding you about respecting your family, but was totally fine with your sister sleeping with your fiancé. These people will do anything to keep the peace, even if it means neglecting and enabling nonsense like this. Pretty stupid, honestly. Last story. My girlfriend's little sister has a crush on me and everyone but me thinks it's cute. I'm so tired of this. I want to break up with my girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend are in our early 20s and she has a 14-year-old sister who has a crush on me. She's always trying to find a way to help me out, talk to me, tries to be alone with me, wears her better clothes around me, and has been getting into makeup trying to copy her sister's look. I don't think it's cute the way everyone else does, They laugh and humor her and tease her about her crush on me by saying things like, "I saw your sister's boyfriend today," or "Is he your boyfriend?" It's so gross and uncomfortable. The recent times I've tried getting alone time with my girlfriend at her house were interrupted by her sister pounding on her door asking us what we're doing. It just blows my mind how no one thinks that it's weird, and they basically encouraged her. She's gotten a slap on the wrist once for trying to unlock her sister's door while we were in there together. But that's it. They all think it's just a funny little crush that'll go away. My girlfriend especially thinks it's so funny because she knows I would never go for a child. No freaking I wouldn't. It doesn't bother her because she's 14. I worry that one day her sister will start spinning fantasies about things we did. I'm in my 20s, for Pete's sake. I can't have a lie ruining my life. I've talked to my girlfriend about her sister's behavior and how serious I am multiple times, but she always blows me off. I really love my girlfriend, and we've been together for 2 years now, but I want to call it quits. I really wanted to marry her someday too. No one is taking me seriously, and the last thing I ever need is a child saying I came onto her or something like that. I don't even visit the way I used to anymore, just to avoid a freaking 14-year-old. That's depressing. My girlfriend doesn't like to come over to my apartment because I have roommates and her house is way nicer, but I won't go over there anymore because of her sister. Just had to vent. Thanks. Now for the comments. Ask your girlfriend if she'd think it was so funny if her sister was 18. I freaking have, and you know what she says? But she isn't. Crazy. It almost like she doesn't see the danger in it because she's a minor and knows that I would never touch a minor. That's not the point. The point is that minor can lie. And I'm not a victim blamer. I'd believe the child too. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You believe the victim. She also keeps saying how nothing bad will happen because she knows her sister. My biggest fear is that her sister will get mad one day, or she's feeling a little extra delusional and then lies. All it takes is one little text message to her friend or one little accusation, and I'm done for. Writing comment after comment makes me feel like a freaking idiot for dancing around this situation for so long. I'm going to talk to my girlfriend seriously one last time, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I really hope that it somehow works out. I don't know what my future will look like if it works, but I know that her sister isn't in it. Not to be mean, but your girlfriend sounds kinda dumb. You gotta be point blank with her and tell her this nonsense needs to stop. And it has the risk of ruining your life if her little sister decides to make up a lie. 14-year-olds are 100% capable of doing this. In the meantime, protect yourself and lay down some solid boundaries. Refuse to go to her house and be around her sister until it stops. If your girlfriend is unwilling to do anything about it, I'd be questioning whether there's a possibility of a more serious and committed relationship in the future. It would make me question if she's capable of taking your concerns and emotions into consideration in the future. This isn't someone I would want to have as a partner. Exactly. Her sister is acting on her feelings of having a crush despite it being her own sister's boyfriend. She's not a toddler or a young kid. 14 is old enough to know that's not okay. I think you're right. All it would take is one lie from that girl to change your life. True story right here. Happened to a friend of mine in high school. I believe him because he genuinely never, that I saw, encouraged or expressed any interest, and actively went out of his way to gently turn her down and not be in a compromising situation. She got mad, said something happened. He's on a list now. Stuff like this breaks my heart, and I don't even know what else could have happened. I don't want it to be me. It doesn't even matter if they confess that they lied either, because the damage would already have been done. If a victim comes forward, I would believe them, just like anyone else should. It really messes everything up when victims aren't actually victims. It takes away from real victims and unnecessarily ruins lives. It's a lose-lose all around. I feel so freaking bad for him.